Now, I've been hearing a lot about this guy that's coming up next. You might have heard of him before. Tom, if you please. Guys, go, keep the momentum going. Show love. Go metal. Adam. Sumner.
Good evening, Otley. I'd like to start us off with a couple of jokes, just to lower expectations. So there's a guy in the station at Leeds handing out free papers. He's quite small, he's got a big long white beard. He gives those papers out with an alarming sense of rhythm. Turns out he's the metronome. I can't believe that. You're a great audience already. Fucking hell. That's almost put me off my next joke, so I'm laughing at that. So I've had a busy weekend. Well, in fact, I've got a... Yeah, we're close enough to last weekend. So I had a busy weekend. I agreed to help a mate move house. Went down to the industrial estate to go and help him rent a van. Got to the premises, all boarded up, shut up. Big sign on the door. Due to the economic climate, Avis has left the building. Come on. Had an exciting day at work today, working in an office. We gave the photocopier a name. We gave the photocopier the name Bob Marley because it's always jamming. Now that I've lowered your expectations suitably, I'll move on to something even worse. So yeah, my name's Adam Tumber, and you may be able to tell from my accent that I'm not exactly from around these parts. I'm from a county that markets itself as the Garden of England, from Kent. Now, unfortunately, bits of Kent I'm from, less so much nice English country garden, more front garden with a rusting Ford Fiesta in the front with weeds growing out of the vents. But I've been up in Leeds now for about 15 years, and I'm still getting used to one very tiny thing about the local area. And that is when someone uses the word pal to you, it has two meanings. You've got pal and pal. First pal, friend, acquaintance, I'd like to have a drink with you. Second pal, often looking like this gentleman here. I'm going to meet you in the car park afterwards, I'm going to smash your knees in with a tyre iron. As someone from Kent, it's usually the latter. But yeah, as I say, I've been on Leeds 15 years. I'm actually married. My wife actually comes to the first gig tonight of mine, so please can you laugh, because I'd hate for her to be proved right. And yeah, I've also got a couple of kids. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm getting to that stage where you wake up and something mysteriously hurts. Now, I guess a few years back that would be fine. You might obsess over it for a little while. These days we've got the internet, haven't we? We've all got cyberchondria. We're going to put our symptoms into the internet, and we're going to find out just how bad the internet says it's going to be. So I've been waking up with pins and needles in my hand. I often spend my time doing this like I'm pleasuring invisible sooty. But yeah, so I put in pain in left arm into the thing. If I just type that in, comes back. You are having a heart attack. Would you like to see local funeral directors in your area? No, okay, more specific. Pretty sure it's not that. Numbness pain in left arm. It said you're having a stroke. I said, don't be ridiculous, your material's not that erotic. And so I finally put in the last one, a bit tingling in the fingers, all that. Comes back and suggests to me carpal tunnel. I think, for fuck's sake, not another James Corden spin-off. I thought that one was all right. But yeah, I've got a couple of kids. They're the reason I got into comedy. Not because they're particularly inspiring or anything, I just want to get out of the house. I actually got in my pocket, I've got my 3-year-old's nose. He's getting this back when he learns to behave himself. Every time I get a laugh, it throws me. Maybe this isn't the thing for me. But yeah, the thing with the kids, yeah. We didn't think that having a couple of kids was enough responsibility, so we decided we were going to get a dog. Give me a shout if you like dogs. Everyone loves dogs, don't they? I love the idea of a dog. I like something big and a macho type dog, something like a German Shepherd or a dire wolf. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of leaving all the research and stuff to my wife. So now, rather than having a macho dog like a German Shepherd that could rescue me from a burning building, I could set off my enemies, I'm now the proud owner of a miniature Labradoodle. Yeah, the miniature's important. I tell people at work that my dog's a cross. Yeah, cross between a Labrador and a Poodle. Well, you mean a Labradoodle? No, don't mean that, no. Makes me sound like Paul O'Grady. That didn't work as well as I thought it might. But, yeah. So unfortunately, right, dogs are meant to be man's best friend. Unfortunately, very small dog, puppy dog, more like man's sociopathic killing machine. He gets on very well with my 3-year-old in that respect. But yeah, this dog has spent more time in the 6 months we've had him trying to remove my trousers than my wife has in the whole time we've been married. And she's going to kill me for that one afterwards. Please remember that she's here. Yeah, so Reggie is also a physicist. He can give a perfect demonstration of Newton's third law of motion. He runs perfectly at my 3-year-old, who's about the same height and weight, throws himself at it, and it's like one of those Newtonian cradles, you know, where the ball drops and hits the next one. It's perfect. Whatever speed he's going at, Connor just bounces off him like one of those balls. It's the most hilarious thing in the world. I know as a parent you're not meant to have favourites, so I have made the conscious choice that I'm not going to favouritize either of my 2 boys. My favourite is actually the dog. Connor's now, he's my youngest, he's now 3, and you'd think he'd be at this age now where I'm starting to get a little bit more sleep. My oldest is 6, so I haven't slept properly in about 6 years. I've got bags under my eyes that make me look like the Emperor from Star Wars. But you still have those nights with him as a 3-year-old, and it sounds crazy, but it's actually worse when you get a random night in the middle of nowhere like this. It gets to 5 in the morning and he's had you up 3 times since midnight, and you're kind of not really with it anyway, and in the half-light you just hear these little footprints coming towards you and you think, fuck no. And you look up and you open your eyes and you see these demonic red eyes shining back at you. And just in that little instantaneous moment, you think to yourself, would it be the worst thing in the world if I knocked him on the head, wrapped him up in a carpet and threw him off a bridge? And you can, of course, a millisecond later, you're kind of with it, go, oh God, no, you can't think that, that's horrible, you can't say that about your kid. You don't have any spare carpet. And you're not Jerry McCann. Nothing divides a room like that one. You thought your one about prison sex was bad, Carl. But yeah, I still struggle with the, one of the things I struggle about, Mr. Stay-at-Home Dad, you'll probably not get this because of Stay-at-Home Dad, you probably do all kinds of fun things with your kids. I kind of plonk them in front of the TV. And I don't get this, the suspension of disbelief thing, I lost this a good few years ago. And I sit there blindly watching the screen with them, and I think to myself, that's just not realistic. Thomas the Tank Engine would have been shut down by Dr. Beeching. That's a very niche joke. I've never seen one of the Paw Patrol trying to hump the mare's leg. And there's Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig lives in a universe where everything bad happens to Daddy Pig. Poor old Daddy Pig is the butt of every joke. And you can see in his eyes, I know it's only a cartoon, but I'm pretty sure I can see in his eyes that he dies a little inside every time they do that. And it's going to get to the stage, and it's one of them sad things. If Mummy Pig ever leaves him, then Peppa better get out there fastish, because he's got murder-suicide written all over him. And then the worst one of the lot is Postman Pat. When I was young, Postman Pat used to trundle around Greendale in his van, like rounding up the odd sheep to help a farmer. These days, kids don't want Postman Pat trundling around rounding up sheep with a van. They want a fucking helicopter. Honestly, we've now got a rural postman, presumably plundering the pension pot. It's why they're always on strike. Satisfying these delusions of grandeur by having a helicopter, not just a normal helicopter, not an off-the-shelf one that you might get from Westland or one of those other companies that Tory MPs have shares in. It's a fucking bespoke helicopter with a special module for the cat to sit in. I mean, that's not going to come cheap. The man must waste so much time. He'll have a shed in his back garden full of undelivered mail dating back to whenever he got the helicopter. But I know how the Postman Pat story is going to end, and it's something I'm going to have recorded on Sky Plus. It's going to end in a hail of bullets the day they tell him that he's being replaced by a robot. He's going to calmly walk to the back of his van, whistling some kind of psalm. Maybe the Lord is my shepherd. He's going to the back of the van and open it up. And he's going to pull out a 12-bore shotgun. And he's going to go all Raoul Moat on Greendale. Bang, where's your God now, Reverend Timms? Bang, that's for voting Brexit, Mrs. Goggins. Fuck you, Jess. It's going to take more than Paul Gascoigne and a bucket of chicken to fix that one. Maybe it's a symptom of the angrier world that we live in now. Karl Marx, I think, would have said that religion is the opiate of the people. I mean, he's never been to Manchester on a Saturday night. But these days, we're a much more secular society, and I think the thing that's now the opiate of the people is reality TV. So I have a plan to fix the Middle East by sending them reality TV stars. Any religious conflict, we're going to make them forget about the religion part of the conflict. We're going to send Spencer from The Only Way is Essex, or whichever one he's on, and Joey Essex, who's definitely from that one. And we're going to send them to Jerusalem, to the Dome of the Rock, and we're going to make sure thousands of years of conflict goes away because they're just amazeballs. And we're going to round up a group of ex-apprentice contestants, and we're going to send them to Syria to find a list of things that they'll get wrong. I mean, obviously they'll send Katie Hopkins back because she's too right-wing for ISIS. I feel like I'm doing for time. Marvellous. As everyone will be glad to hear, it's nearly finished. So, I'll leave you with a story about the dangers of kids and technology, because my oldest now is 6, but he was about 2-3 years old when he discovered the iPad. At the same time he discovered the iPad, he discovered Siri. He also discovered how to lock the fucking thing out for 2 hours. But he discovered Siri, and he was massively into Toy Story at the time. And so the first question he asked Siri was, Siri, show me a picture of a Woody. Well, I swear to God, I have not moved so fast across a room in my life. It was like The Matrix, I was in slow motion. Snatched the iPad out of his hand. To my relief, all that was on there was a picture of a smiling cowboy. I just wish he'd kept his trousers on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dan and Tumber. You've been great. Thank you very much.